Hunger is a condition that is largely hidden. It's largely hidden. And when I say that, I mean physical hunger, and I also mean other kinds of hunger, hunger in a metaphorical sense as well. We hunger, but we don't talk about it. Let's talk about it this morning. First, let's talk about literally needing food. We all know that hunger is an enormous human rights issue in our world. After all, it is a human right to be nourished, to have food. Some time ago, a friend sent me an email showing pictures of families around the globe, and then spread in front of these four-member families in living color was the food that each of these families consumed in a single week, and then an indication of how much that food cost. It was really fascinating. Now, the United States was not at the top. To my surprise, Germany was at the top with $500 a week. The United States was second at $342 a week, and then on down, China at $155, Egypt at $69. Now, of course, we're finding less and less meat and processed food as we go down. Ecuador, $31.55, and then at the very bottom were the refugees in Chad, a family of four trying to survive on $1.23 a week, basically a couple of bags of grain. So, let's put this question in context. We are a wealthy, wealthy country where everyone should have plenty of what is basic to keep people alive, that is, clean water and nourishing food. Unfortunately, this is not the case. I expect that most people in this congregation think that they don't know anyone who is hungry. I mean, actually physically hungry. But I can guarantee you that all of you know people who are hungry. In fact, I would guess that there are people right here in this sanctuary this morning who are literally hungry, or at the very least, what social workers call food insecure. That is, they are not sure where their next meal is coming from, and they often do not have enough to eat or enough money to buy nutritious food. About 12% of Oregon citizens are food insecure. 12%. But hunger is a hidden condition because people who are hungry are ashamed, and they don't tell their neighbors, and they don't tell their co-workers. Kids who go to school hungry do not tell their classmates, and they don't tell their teacher that they're hungry because it's not an acceptable thing to say, "I'm hungry." Now, how does it happen that people don't have enough money for food? It's so basic. Well, many people, in fact, who use food stamps, they are, in fact, working. Well, it goes like this. An Oregonian on a limited income pays whatever bills are most urgent when they get a paycheck, and then they try to figure out how to prioritize. You have to have a house, you have to have a place to live, says one woman. Yes, health insurance is important, but maybe automobile insurance is more important because I have to drive to work. I have to pay the phone bill because I'm looking for a better job, and I won't be able to receive calls unless I have a phone. So it goes like that. Kathy, who lives in Grants Pass, talks about the dilemma this way. She says, we didn't pay the electricity bill because we had to buy the kids' school supplies. So it sometimes comes down to this: which bills do I pay? And do I have enough money left over to buy food for the family? An emergency as small as a dead car battery can mean no food money for the family. Terry talks about a time when her family lived on popcorn for a while. She would put a mound of white on each child's plate for dinner. She remembers her son used to separate it out. He used to separate it out and say, "This is my steak. This is my potato. This is my vegetable. Mom really made a good meal for us." The last time I talked about this topic was 8 years ago, and Oregon was number 1 in the nation in terms of hunger. Yes, we were the state with the highest per capita of hungry people. Now, mainly because of aggressive efforts to promote food stamps, we are somewhere in the middle. Nationally, though, things are getting worse, not better. 2005 showed the 5th annual increase of food insecure households in the United States, the 5th annual increase. And actual hunger went up over 60%. Now, what this means in actual terms, what these statistics mean is that many children are going to school hungry each morning, restless and unable to learn. This is a time, when the purchase of luxury goods is at an all-time high. Now, I don't mind if some people want to buy $12,000 watches and $5,000 purses. That's fine. But I can't support a tax structure in an economic philosophy that says that some people can have tremendous excess while others don't have the basic necessities, food. An economic philosophy that literally takes food off of the plates of children. Now, I know that many of you, as I do, give money to the food bank each year and collect cans of food for various organizations. All that is well and good, but we need legislative change at the national level. And so today I'm going to ask each one of you to do one thing in behalf of hungry and malnourished people. I'm going to ask you to go down to the social justice table in the parish hall after the service today and get information about legislation supporting a federal nutrition program. And then make two phone calls that can make a difference. And believe me, your voice can make a difference. Let your voice count on this issue. Nobody should be without food in this country. But now, as I mentioned earlier, there are many kinds of hunger. Many kinds of hunger. I noted in a recent article in the New York Times an analysis of the mood of voters at this time in the election cycle. The article says, and I quote, "There has been a darkening of the country's mood, and in the eyes of many, a fraying of America's very sense of self. Americans feel a loss of autonomy in their lives and in the nation. They feel powerless to control their financial well-being, their safety, their environment, their health." The article goes on to say, "Parents are worried about the next generation, and there is a feeling that the political system is impotent." So it's not just a loss of control in measurable indicators like health care and income. It appears that we are hungering for direction, for hope, for some sense that we're going to be all right after all. As a people, we are divided and isolated, and so we hunger for community, for intimacy. Who was the poet who wrote, "Many are dying for lack of love alone"? But these are largely hidden hungers because these are not the things that people mostly talk about. It's too scary to say to another person, "I feel desperate," or "I feel terribly lonely." As one wag said, "People think that of all the animals, humans most resemble monkeys, but that's not the case. We most resemble ducks. On the surface, we look calm and quiet, and underneath, we're all paddling furiously."